If you've ever looked at your profit and loss statement and thought, we made pretty good money this quarter, but then looked at your bank account and wondered why you can't even cover payroll next week, this video is for you.
Please help me.
I've worked with dozens of contractor couples who are profitable on paper, but broke in reality.
I have no money.
It's one of the most frustrating, confusing positions to be in because you're doing everything right. You're landing jobs, you're completing projects, your P&L says you're making money, but somehow you're still scrambling for cash.
I thought I was past it.
Here's what's actually happening. Being profitable and having cash are two completely different things. And in construction, you can absolutely be one without the other.
Why limit yourself? Why not both?
In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you why profitable contractors still go broke, why this problem is worse in construction than almost any other industry, and exactly how to break the cycle so you can finally have both profit and cash. Welcome back to another episode of Built for Two, CEO Edition. Well, hey there. I'm Kimberly Ferguson, CEO and founder of The Emerald Edge. Around here, we help husband and wife business partners build businesses that actually fund their lives instead of draining them. Today, we're talking about one of the most dangerous traps in the construction industry, the profit paradox, where you're making money on paper, but you're going broke in real life. And if you've been in this position, well, you know how maddening it is. You're working harder than ever, you're landing bigger jobs, your revenue is growing, but you feel more financially stressed than when you were so much smaller. So let's break down why this is happening, why it's so common in construction, and how to fix it before it breaks your business or your marriage.
You should have left this to the professionals.
So let's start by understanding what the profit paradox actually is. So profit is an accounting concept. It's revenue minus expenses. So if you brought in $100,000 and you spent $70,000, well, you made $30,000 in profit. That's how it shows up on your P&L. You're profitable. Congratulations. But cash is a timing reality. It's about when money actually moves in and out of your bank account. And in construction, those are two very separate things that are almost never aligned.
Because we're usually not on the same page.
So here's a typical scenario. You land a $50,000 kitchen renovation. You order $15,000 of material up front. You pay your crew $10,000 over the first 2 weeks. That's $25,000 out of pocket before your client pays you a dime. And then let's say you wait 30 days for your first progress payment, maybe 60 days for the final payment.
I'm just sitting here waiting.
So on your P&L, that job might show a $15,000 profit. But in reality, you were $25,000 in the hole for 2 months before you saw any of that money come back. And if you got 3 or 4 jobs running at the same time, you could easily be $75,000, $100,000 out of pocket waiting for payments. That's the profit paradox. You're profitable, but you're still broke. Because profit is about what you earned, cash is about what you have.
I thought I had everything.
So why is this a problem that's uniquely brutal in the construction industry compared to other industries? Well, I've got 3 reasons for you.
Three.
The first one is you typically pay for everything up front, right? You got materials, you got labor, you've got permits, you've got subcontractors. You're paying for all of that, sometimes even before the job is even started, but definitely before it's finished, right? And in most businesses, you get paid and then you deliver. In construction, you deliver and then you get paid. So that timing gap is brutal.
It's been tough, I'm not gonna lie.
Second, payment terms kind of seem like they're getting longer and longer. It used to be that it was net 30 that was standard. And now we're seeing contractors selling in net 60, net 90, net 120 on commercial jobs. So you're not just waiting for a month to get paid. You're waiting 3, 4 months or longer. And in the meantime, you still have payroll every 2 weeks and material suppliers expecting payment in 30 days and subcontractors who want their money now.
I need to pay.
And third, growth makes it worse, not better. This is the part that always surprises people. You'd think landing more jobs would solve your cash flow problems, but it actually makes them worse because every new job requires more upfront cash, more materials, more labor, more expenses before you get paid. So you're growing your revenue, growing your profit on paper, but you're also increasing the amount of cash that you need to have on hand to fund that growth. And if you don't have reserves, Well, you end up in the cycle where you're constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul, using money from one job to fund another, and hoping everything times out perfectly so you don't run out of cash.
Sounds counterintuitive, I know.
So here's how the cycle plays out. And I see this with contractor couples all the time. You land a big job. Great news, right? But that big job requires a big upfront investment. So you pull your money from your reserves, or worse, you put it on a credit card or a line of credit, and you tell yourself, it's fine. We'll get paid in 30 days.
That doesn't sound too bad.
But 30 days comes around and, well, that client hasn't paid yet.
Uh-oh.
They need another week, or they're waiting on their financing, or they want to hold back payment until you fix that one tiny thing. So now you're at 45 days out of pocket. Meanwhile, you've landed another job. And, well, that one also needs materials and labor up front. So you're even further out of pocket.
It's bad, but bad means good, isn't that right?
And you still haven't been paid for the first job. So by the time you finally get paid for one job, you've already spent all of that money on the second job, or maybe even the third job.
I can't keep this up.
So even though you got paid, you don't really feel like you got paid because that money came in and already went back out. And then, well, payroll comes due, or a supplier payment, or estimated taxes. And you look at your bank account and you think, where did all the money go? We've been so busy. We've been landing jobs. Why are we broke?
Besides, the math doesn't add up.
Well, this is the cycle. And it's not because you're bad at business. It's because you're trying to grow without the cash reserves to support that growth. You're funding your business on hope and timing instead of actual cash management.
On a wing and a prayer, mostly.
Now let's talk about the hidden costs that make the cycle even worse. So first, when you're cash strapped, you make expensive decisions. You can't pay a supplier in full, so you put it on your credit card and you pay interest. You can't wait for a better deal on materials, so you pay premium prices for rush delivery. You can't invest in better equipment, so you keep using the old stuff that keeps breaking down and costs you time and money to repair. Every one of those decisions costs you profit.
It costs what it costs.
But you're making them because you don't have cash. So you're sacrificing long-term profitability for, well, short-term survival.
Hey, we are all just trying to get by.
Second, you can't take advantage of opportunities. A great deal on material comes up, but you can't afford to buy in bulk. A talented crew member becomes available, but you can't afford to hire them until you get paid on your current jobs. A perfect project comes along, but you have to turn it down because you don't have the cash to fund it.
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
And then third, the stress affects everything. When you're constantly worried about cash, you're not really thinking strategically. You're not planning for growth. You're not investing in your business or your team. You're just trying to survive until the next payment comes in. And that stress bleeds into your marriage, your health, your decision-making, everything.
I don't know what else to do.
So how do you break the cycle? Well, here's the framework. First, build a cash reserve. I know, easier said than done, but this is a non-negotiable. You need a minimum of 3 months of operating expenses in the bank. Not 3 months of revenue, 3 months of expenses. Payroll, rent, insurance, everything. This reserve allows you to fund jobs without going into debt. It's what allows you to weather a slow month or late payments without panicking. It's what allows you to grow without constantly being on the edge of a cash crisis.
This is just a way to have a safety net.
Start small if you have to. Set aside 5% of every payment that comes in. Put it in a separate account and don't touch it. Build that reserve over time. It might take 6 months or a year or more, but it's the foundation for everything else.
What else can I do?
So second, and honestly probably the most important one, fix your payment terms. Stop accepting net 60, net 90, unless you absolutely have to. Negotiate deposits up front. Structure payments so that you're getting paid as you go, not waiting until the end. Build payment terms into your contract that protect your cash flow. And if a client won't agree to reasonable payment terms, well, that's a red flag. You're not a bank. You shouldn't be financing their project with your cash.
I absolutely will do that.
And third, track your cash flow separately from your P&L. Your P&L is great. It tells you that you're profitable, but your cash flow statement tells you if you're surviving. You need both. And a simple cash flow projection will show you when money's coming in, when money's going out, where are the gaps, help you plan for them before they become a crisis.
Got a legitimate cash flow.
And fourth, slow down your growth if you need to. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but if you're growing faster than your cash can support, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's better to grow slowly and sustainably than to grow fast and go broke.
Right, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down.
Turn down jobs if you don't have the cash to fund them properly. Focus on the jobs that pay well, that pay on time, and don't stretch your resources too thin. We're talking quality over quantity here.
We must remain focused on what's really important.
And then fifth, make sure you're pricing right up front. If you're constantly cash strapped, it might be because your pricing doesn't account for the cash flow gap. You need to price your jobs not just for profit, but for the cost of carrying the job until you get paid. And that could mean higher prices. It could mean fewer jobs, but it definitely means sustainable jobs.
Makes a lot of sense.
So let me tell you about another contractor couple. They were doing about $800,000 a year in revenue. Their P&L showed that they were making about $120 in profit. On paper, they're doing great, right? But in reality, they're constantly stressed about money. They're using credit cards to cover gaps. They're delaying their own paychecks. They're even one bad month away from not making payroll. So when we dug into their numbers, here's what we found. They had zero cash reserves. They're taking jobs with net 60 payment terms. They were funding every job out of pocket and then waiting 2 months to get paid.
Oh, wow.
And they were growing, which meant they needed even more cash up front for each new job.
Tell me you have a solution.
So here's how we fix it. First, we implement a cash management system. Stop taking new jobs for 30 days and focus on collecting existing jobs. Let's say that brings in $80,000. You can use that money to put $40,000 in your reserve account and then $40,000 to pay down high interest debt. Then restructure their payment terms. We're talking minimum 25% deposit up front. Progress payments at completion checkpoints throughout the project with only a small payment due upon completion after the usual honey-do list. No more net 60. We also raised their prices by 15% to account for the cost of carrying the job and to build in a better buffer for that time gap. Within 3 months, they'd have $60,000 in reserves. Within 6 months, there'd be no need to continue using credit cards. And within a year, they'd feel like they're running a completely different business. Same revenue, same profit margins, but totally different cash position. And that's what happens when you fix the cash flow problem. You don't just survive, you thrive.
You are a miracle worker.
So let's bring this home. Being profitable and having cash are two completely different things. And in construction, the gap between these two can break you if you're not careful. You can land every job, complete every project, and show profit on every P&L and still go broke if you don't know how to manage your cash flow. Because profit is what you earned, but cash is about what you have. And in construction, there's almost always a gap between the two. But here's the good news. This is fixable. You can build reserves. You can fix your payment terms. You can track your cash flow. You can slow down growth if you need to. And you can price your jobs to account for the reality of construction cash flow.
It's time to get empowered.
When you do those things, you stop living in the profit paradox. You stop being profitable on paper and broke in reality. You start having both profit and cash. And that's when your business finally starts funding your life instead of draining it. So here's what I want you to do this week. Look at your cash flow. Not your P&L, your actual cash flow. How much cash do you have right now? How much do you need to cover the next 30 days? Are there any gaps? Start there. And if you're a contractor couple who's tired of being profitable on paper and broke in reality, let's talk. Use the link below to contact us at the Emerald Edge. We help husband and wife teams build cash flow systems that actually work so you can stop scrambling and start scaling. Your business should give you freedom, not keep you up at night worrying about payroll. And fixing your cash flow is how you get there. This has been Built for Two, where systems keep your business steady, strategy helps it grow, and building it with your soulmate makes the whole adventure worth it. Remember, profit is what you earn, cash is what you have. Manage both. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in my next video.